This lecture will be on chemical reactions, something we will get to observe in lab for a fair amount of the rest of the year. Be able to define chemical property. This is the ability of a substance to undergo a specific chemical change, like oxidation. Be able to define chemical reaction, as well as reactant and product. Precipitate is a solid that forms and settles out of a liquid mixture. And the law of conservation of mass is going to state that in any physical change or chemical reaction, the mass you begin with is the same as the mass you end with. I want you to be able to use mathematical representatives to support the claim that atoms and therefore mass are conserved during a chemical reaction. Identify chemical reactions based on the properties of chemicals, especially the properties of each element. We know that elements have chemical properties. A chemical property of iron is that it will react with oxygen to form rust. That is a chemical property of iron. The vocabulary we use in terms of chemical reactions is pretty straightforward. Reactants are the starting substances. What we start with at the beginning of a reaction are going to be our reactants. So if we start with sodium bicarbonate, aka baking soda, and vinegar, acetic acid, these are our reactants. When we mix them, they will undergo a chemical reaction, which is going to be the change of the reactants into the products. It is an observable thing. The products are the final substances. In this case, we're going to see that the sodium bicarbonate is going to form sodium acetate, and it'll also form carbon dioxide, which is going to come out in the form of bubbles. So that will be our chemical reaction, and we're going to be able to observe this by seeing bubbles form when we mix baking soda and vinegar. Now, we can also add things together, and occasionally we'll add, say, sodium chloride solution in water to a barium nitrate solution in water. And what will happen is you'll get barium chloride, which is going to end up precipitating out as a fine white powder that you should definitely not lick. That's a precipitate, when it's in the solid forms and settles out of the solution. If we added a liquid acetic acid to sodium bicarbonate in water, we will actually see little bubbles form of carbon dioxide. It's the same reaction as when we add baking soda and vinegar, but since they're both in solution, we're going to see the evolution of a gas. That's the bubbling out of a gas from the liquid solution. Two other types of reactions I want you guys to be able to think through are exothermic and endothermic. Exothermic means giving off heat, and endothermic means taking in heat. There are reactions that actually get colder as they progress. Later, in another couple lectures, well, quite a few lectures, we will discuss why reactions give off or take in heat.